Welcome back.
Yo, Base Guru. Nice job.
Welcome back.
First. Hey.
Hello?
What's that?
Let's go. Dude, how are you? Oh my gosh, I hate when TikTok does this. It's like, you gotta verify yourself doing this little puzzle. I hit the puzzle perfect every time. Nope, doesn't like me. Refresh the page, it starts working. All right, cool, we're good. Been a rough start to the week, but in case of Mondays, dude, yeah. This week was off to, I told my kid this morning, I already have enough tasks to do. I don't need more tasks. Well, hopefully, the game news, we can have a good conversation, talk about some upcoming things, rumors, and other items. It's weird to think about, Base Guru, but the first counter ends in like 2 months. Like, time's running out. Cole89, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you being here as we get started this morning. Need my trophy for the shelf. Man, if I had a 3D printer. I need a 3D printer. It's something I'd like to get into. I just don't know how much time I could realistically commit. All right. Well, I think we're good to start. Let's hit the old just chatting button. Welcome to the stream this morning, everybody. Good to see you. I'm like, I gotta fix this. This is bugging me. If you're watching on the vertical stream, my camera just needs to be like scooted. Just there we go. See, that's much better. Now I'm in the middle. I had to like rebuild all of my vertical scenes from scratch. So as a hobby, it's not a hobby one just gets into. But see, I could obsess about it for like a month, find actual use for a 3D printer, and then it would sit there and collect dust until I had another idea. Or I would really get into it like a lot. There's no in between. There's no healthy obsession. Why do you think I've been streaming this long? I really enjoy doing it. There's a lot that I like with it. I've put money into this, and the return is dismal. I'll just say that. All right, anyway, how's everybody doing? Happy Monday. We've got quite a bit of game news to cover. Well, I say quite a bit. There's a lot of little stories from the weekend, but nothing major. Nothing major. If you've been playing Ark Raiders, you all are convincing me to get this game, and I may pick it up soon. But I play a lot of games, so it's like hard to decide what do I want to get into. So we'll switch her into news mode. There we go. Up, game news logo is up. News mode is active. If you're watching Twitch, the channel points get disabled. for the time being. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to find my music mix. There we are. So the volume can go down there. Because, hey, Dan, good to see you in chat. How are you, my friend? All right. Well, let's just jump in right off the bat here. We've got Mario Galaxy. We've got ads. Very obnoxious ads telling me to subscribe. Anyway. Mario Galaxy movie reveals reportedly coming very soon. A full trailer for the next Nintendo movie is said to be attached to an upcoming release. So I wonder if the new trailer would coincide with, I don't know, what's coming out. According to movie scoops outlet My Time to Shine, which claims the first full trailer for Mario Galaxy movie will be attached to Wicked for Good, which is due in cinemas on November 21st. Wait a second. That movie hasn't come out? I've been seeing marketing for the sequel to Wicked for what I feel like 6 months. But I guess the trailer will be attached to that movie. Okay, that's fine. I will check the trailer when it gets uploaded to YouTube. If accurate, that means the Galaxy movie trailer will almost certainly be published online within the next few weeks. Mario Galaxy movie was announced via a short teaser included in September's Nintendo Direct broadcast, which confirmed the film will release on April 26th. Which is awesome. None of the other movie details do we care about because there aren't any, and they're just recapping stuff we've already talked about. Hey, Supersonic, good to see you this morning. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for another trailer. And the fact that it's coming soon means there's something to look forward to. If you, I don't know, I really get hyped about trailers and stuff. That's why I like doing the game news in the summer, because we have a ton of trailers to watch. And then now it's like, there's not that much, you know. Anyway, while we're on the subject of Nintendo, maybe, Nintendo wins a lawsuit. This is funny to me. Against the player who kept streaming pirated Switch games and taunted, "I can do this all day." Jesse Kagan told Nintendo's legal team, "You might run a corporation. I run the streets." Which is tough talk for a kid streaming Nintendo games a few days early. Nintendo has won a lawsuit against a streamer who regularly played pirated games before their release while taunting the company that he couldn't be caught. I remember talking about this last year on the game news. He was sued by Nintendo, who he claimed would stream games on various online platforms under his username EveryGameGuru. The lawsuit stated that since 2022, Kagan has streamed at least 10 of Nintendo's leaked games before they were released, more than 50 times in total, the most recent at the time of the lawsuit being Mario and Luigi Brothership. It also claimed that Kagan taunted Nintendo, sending the company a letter boasting that he has 1,000 burner channels to stream from and can do this all day. As reported by Torrent Freak, Kagan continued to taunt Nintendo's lawyers on Facebook, writing, "Should have done more research on me. You might run a corporation. I run the street." I'm sorry, but what, dude? You're pirating video games. You're running zero streets. And you're about to serve prison time, I'm sure. April 2025, Nintendo filed a new motion claiming that Kagan had evaded service of the complaint, but was then served it through substituted means via both email and letters to his mother, grandmother, and partner. After Kagan failed to respond by the deadline, the court clerk entered default against him on March 26. Nintendo asked the court to make default judgment against him for $17,500 in damages. Even without taunting, your sin will find you out. Dude, oh yeah, Numbers 32:23. Oh, it's so true. Hey, you reap what you sow. Shut up, Base Guru. I messed up. The court clerk entered a default against him. He had to pay $17,000 in damages. A Colorado federal court has now granted Nintendo's request and ordered Kagan to pay the damages, but also said that 2 of Nintendo's requests for a permanent injunction couldn't be granted because Kagan mostly used emulation software available online. The judge ruled that Nintendo's request that he destroy all circumvention devices was rejected because the request was unclear and unreasonable. Nintendo asked for an injunction to apply to third parties who worked alongside him, but the judge denied this too because Nintendo didn't specify who these third parties were, meaning the final judgment was simply for $17,500. Nintendo's motion said it could have asked for more damages than that because by not responding to the order and defaulting, old dude had technically conceded liability for all 10 games Nintendo had listed in its previous complaint, meaning it could have asked for at least $100,000, but it didn't. Instead, it only asked for $10,000 for the latest infringement, as well as $7,500 for multiple violations of circumvention of its anti-piracy security. This dude's a clown, but Nintendo's like, we could have asked for more money, but we didn't. And it's like, okay, but you didn't. Like, you could have done that. He can't destroy what he does not own. Hey, that's very true. That is very true. Lawyers will be getting a good telling off, given how Nintendo is so meticulous. Yes, whoever the legal team was that handled this case is probably already fired and practicing law in some, like, no-name town with a population of, like, 10, you know, doing civil court cases. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a legal guy. Oh man, Indiana. No, more like Nebraska, just the middle of the cornfields. All right, well, let's move on because we're talking about Nintendo. This is like our big story this morning, right now. Animal Crossing New Horizons is getting a Switch 2 edition next year, January, plus a free update, version 3.0. I like that they clarify this is free update. Okay, let's read. They've announced Animal Crossing's New Horizons Switch 2 edition will be arriving alongside a new free update, version 3.0, on January 15th. Switch 2 edition includes all sorts of new features to make the most of the new console. There's mouse mode integration for improved home layout and clothing design, a megaphone item so you can call out your villagers' names, improved visuals and frame rate, camera and game chat opportunities, and more. Those are already with the Switch 1 version, and that means everyone will be able to upgrade to the Switch 2 edition by purchasing an upgrade pack for $5. Honestly, this is the best upgrade. Best upgrade, but it's only because it's $5 and you get better visuals, frame rate improvement. I'll buy that. That's fair. If you're one of the few who haven't played it on the older console or can pick up the Switch 2 edition digital physical for $64.99. Yeah, it feels like a price bump there, but sure. And here's some snaps. You can see it in action. Screenshots. Look, Lego. That's cool. Oh, they're higher res when you click them. It loads a low resolution screenshot in the preview when you magnify it. So they've increased the player count on Switch 2 to 12. This doesn't really showcase the mouse mode because this just looks like the normal screen, but you can use mouse mode in like menus that would make sense to support it. The clearer fidelity. So Switch 1, Switch 2. The megaphone item. I'm just enjoying the screenshots looking really sharp. Everything looks really crispy and like colorful, and I'm here for it. We still have a little while to wait before both the update and Switch 2 edition officially wash up on our shores, but gosh, are we excited. Yeah, me too, Nintendo Life. Me too. Thanks for the article. The trailer was a little long. 12 minutes. It's a 12-minute trailer. Y'all can go watch that. But the update, which we should jump to, does feature quite a bit. Everything included in the Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch 2 edition and free 3.0 update. I don't think the headline's long enough, guys. I think it could have been a little longer. Look, it's Mr. Resetti. He's back to yell at you. All right. So the update drops on January 15th. We've listed everything including in the update, which is coming to the base Switch 1, Game 2, and outlined all Switch 2 editions, so you can see all the new stuff at a glance. We've also answered some questions you might have about the update. So let's start with all Switch 2 features. Improved resolution and graphics. Yay. It's still 30 FPS, mind you, although we'd assume it's more consistent than the Switch 1. Yeah, that's probably like the best thing. Keep it 30 FPS. Just make it look really good. Mouse controls. This screenshot doesn't really... Oh, there's a little mouse icon. In the bottom left corner, there's a little like hand holding the Joy-Con in mouse mode. There we go. There. Mouse mode integration makes it easier to change furniture layouts. Sweet. The megaphone, because the Switch 2 has a built-in microphone, you can like scream at your islanders. Does Nintendo still have the vouchers? I believe they end next year, if they haven't already ended. I don't think you can buy them, but if you have them, you have until next year to use them. Expanded online features. So if you have the camera or a camera, you can use game chat and have the webcam integrated into your stream, which that's kind of cool, I guess. And then the version 3.0 update, Resort Hotel. The Cap and Family Hotel is open for business. You'll help them bring in new guests by decorating rooms based on various themes, dressing up mannequins, and more. Scanning Animal Crossing amiibo will let you invite specific guests to stay. Decorating rooms will earn you hotel tickets, which can be exchanged for exclusive items in the souvenir shop. You can also build specific pieces of furniture requested by Tom Nook in exchange for tickets. So there are a couple ways to rack up the rewards. This feels like a light version of the Happy Home Paradise DLC, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how involved it is. Expanded home storage. This is kind of cool. The previous 5,000 item limit has been lifted, and you'll be able to beef up your collection to a whopping 9,000 items instead. You can even stick trees, shrubs, and all other kinds of greenery in storage. You know, for when you really need a particular type of tree but can't find it anywhere. Actually, I think that's kind of cool. It doesn't make sense in terms of the game, but like, shut up. It doesn't have to be realistic. I want to put my tree in my closet. Alright, Rossetti returns. So, series regular Sonny Rossetti was notably absent from New Horizons at launch, bar over the phone of course, but he's back in the 3.0 update. Rossetti offers a reset service, which can be used to clean up specific areas of the island so you don't need to go about picking up everything yourself. So, you know, if you put out a bunch of decorations and you don't want those there anymore, you can just have Rossetti pick everything up for you. Super cool. Slumber Island. Take a deep sleep. We'll transport you to Luna's new dream world, a fresh island you can decorate as you please with all of your items. You have full control over Slumber Island, where you can add bridges and inclines, set time of day and weather, and invite any of your island residents. You'll be able to build up to 3 Slumber Islands, small, medium, or large, and you can even visit a friend's setup and assist with building works or decoration. So this actually seems kind of cool because it feels like multiplayer Animal Crossing, like the base idea, like build, like, you know, expanding your island, building it out, customizing everything, but everybody can drop stuff, everybody can do construction, and I don't know, I'm excited to see if it's fun to do or not. We'll jump into it, and I'll probably play this on stream a good bit. Collaborations, I'm excited for this. This was my favorite part of Animal Crossing New Leaf. By increasing your island brand recognition via the hotel, the souvenir shop will start to unlock items from various new collaborations. First up, we have the special Nintendo crossover items, which include retro systems, toys, and accessories. Those with an active NSO membership can even play select classic games on the retro systems. Welcome back, OG Animal Crossing. There's also a Lego collab, which features clothing and furniture in the classic brick style. Finally, tapping relevant amiibo will unlock 2 series-specific crossovers for Zelda and Splatoon. These add special outfits, new villagers, Tulin, Miniru, Cece, and Viche, and items. Which is cool. They go over all this in the trailer. Alright, the reveal trailer, you can watch it in video form. They talked about, there were some features that they didn't mention. I was hoping this article would cover it, but maybe. Let's scroll down and we'll see. Frequently asked questions you might have. Is it a free Switch to upgrade? No, it's $5. Animal is Switch 2 physical edition. Yes. Updates free 3.0. No, they didn't talk about it. Okay. So some of the stuff they're adding is like bulk crafting, which was my biggest thing I was hoping they would add to Animal Crossing ever. Is being able to go, hey, I need to make like 4 shovels, and you know, you make 4 of them at the same time instead of having to go to the menu, make 1 shovel, and go back to the menu, make another shovel. Yeah, bulk crafting is the thing, and that's a big update. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. And the Nintendo items. That was one of my favorite things in Animal Crossing New Leaf, is being able to get the Nintendo items and decorate with those. But also, I think it was playing with like a few friends and stuff. I don't know. I'm hoping this update makes me re-interested in the game. I do wonder, with this being the Switch 2 edition of Animal Crossing New Horizons, Does this mean a new Animal Crossing is further out or highly unlikely for the Switch 2? I don't know. They could theoretically continue updating the Switch 2 edition, right, after this 3.0 update and add things, maybe new things or different things to the Switch 2 edition specifically. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the coming years of the Switch 2 life cycle. All right, let's shift our gears a little bit and talk about consumers spending twice as much on video game remakes than remasters, according to research. Global spending on an average remake was more than twice that of the average remaster, according to Ampere. So, I liked this article. Video game consumers spend twice as much on remakes versus remasters. According to research, video game remakes and remasters released across 2024 and 2025 attracted 72.4 million players across Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam, with these consumers spending some 1.4 billion on premium full games and microtransactions. Notably, Ampere found that across 42 titles examined, 15 remakes, 27 remasters, global spending on an average remake was more than twice that of the average remaster at 2.2x. However, Ampere acknowledges that while the data suggests remakes can rejuvenate classic IP and attract new audiences, they require sustainability, higher investment in development, marketing, and time. Remasters, by contrast, offer faster turnaround and lower cost, but generally deliver less engagement. Why is my voice dying? I don't know. There are some notable exceptions according to the research, such as the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, which reached a peak of 180 million in consumer spending and 7 million monthly active users across PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. Katie Holt, a senior analyst at Ampere Analysis, said as games and IP development costs escalate, publishers are increasingly rating their back catalogs for cost-effective remakes and remasters. Publishers deciding between a full remake versus remaster have to balance franchise planning, investment risk, age of content, platform support, and more when choosing which route to take. So, what do we take away from this? Well, considering Halo Campaign Evolved is a full-on remake, and then we have stuff like Final Fantasy VII Remake that are from the ground up reimaginings of the original source material, doing well for various publishers. I mean, Halo Campaign Evolved will likely do very well for Halo Studios and Xbox and Microsoft. But what I really I feel the same way, just like in general. When I see remaster plastered on a box, I immediately go, oh, it's the original game, just upscaled. Maybe the frame rate's been bumped up, but the visuals are relatively untouched. Think like Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime Remaster was a really good remaster, though. Very, very good visuals, frame rate bump, control improvements. It almost felt like a remake, but it was the same game. And then I think about Master Chief Collection is more Halo remastered with new content, but it's still a remaster, right? And then I think about a full-on remake where we have, I guess the best example would be Final Fantasy VII Remake. To some degree, I would think the Spyro trilogy Reignited is a remake. It's just, it's all over the place what you would consider buying, right? But I think if it comes down to it, I'm more interested in a remake and what's new than simply a re-release that is slightly better, depending on the franchise, right? For years, we've been hearing about a Kingdom Hearts 1 remake from the ground up, and I guess, awesome, let that happen. I would do that, but the remaster, like the modern versions of it that you can buy across every platform except Switch, well, I guess you get the cloud versions, but do we count those? Not really. Anyway, those those sold really well and continue to sell well during Steam sales and such, I guess. Anyway, I'm rambling. All right, but anyway, I just think it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Anyway, let's move on. All right, We got Netflix actively exploring a bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. New report claims. I forget that it's one company. Warner Brothers Discovery. So Warner Brothers is shopping the part of their studio or the entire thing. Anyway, Netflix is in the mix for Warner Brothers Discovery, a new report has claimed. Reuters reported that the streamer is actively exploring a bid for the company behind 2025 hits A Minecraft Movie, Superman, and Sinners. It means it has hired an investment bank to work on a prospective offer. If Netflix is successful, it'll bring the likes of Harry Potter, DC Universe, and of course, rival streamer HBO Max into the fold, but it may have competition with Paramount, Skydance heavily linked to an acquisition. Why is this relevant for gaming? We'll get to it. Warner Bros. Discovery confirmed it was officially considering buyout offers. Meanwhile, there has been speculation that DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn, architect of the rebooted DC Universe, may leave his position as a result of a merger. Ooh, that would be tragic. Bloomberg reported David Ellison, CEO and controlling shareholder of Paramount, plans to keep the creative teams of the two studios intact while consolidating some of the marketing and distribution should its deal go through. While there's no mention of Gunn in Bloomberg's report, fans are assuming Gunn's job would be safe given he is considered part of the Warner Brothers Discovery's creative team. Gunn is yet to respond on social media. Bloomberg also reported should the merger go through, Ellison plans to combine Warner Brothers HBO Max with Paramount Plus, creating a single streaming platform with an expanded film and TV library. Anyway, it's what we're not seeing here is the Warner Brothers like interactive side. I guess it's not called Warner Brothers Interactive anymore, but they own. I want to get down to the game news, which I thought IGN of all places would have a bigger write-up on, but they don't. Warner Brothers also has a significant video game operation that includes the likes of Rocksteady, the Batman Arkham trilogy, Traveler's Tales games, the Lego, pretty much any of the Lego games, NetherRealm, Mortal Kombat, and Avalanche Software, which made Hogwarts Legacy. Which, if that were sold to the likes of Netflix, that would kind of fold those properties and game like studios into Netflix as well. Which, I guess if Paramount owned them, they might get sold off. I don't know if Paramount would keep them. That'd be interesting. But if Netflix has them, Netflix is trying to push into gaming, or has pushed into gaming, kinda. And so I would wonder what the end goal would be. Obviously, they want to acquire those IPs for streaming and movie releases. Like those are huge. But it's a weird time to consider that Warner Brothers may not be like a thing in the future. It'll just be Netflix or Paramount or whatever. And it's kind of sad considering the legacy and just I guess the state of the industry is what it is. And things just keep getting bought out and consolidated as time goes on. But still, it's kind of sad to see things die. All right, let's move on. All right, Arc Raiders hit new extraction shooter. If this game doesn't make the case for extraction shooters, I don't know what does. I'm very tempted to buy it now. Hit a new peak player count and the servers broke. So Arc Raiders proving to be such a success that it's becoming a victim of its own victory. Hours ago, and that was hours ago as of November 3rd, so today. Hours ago, the all-new extraction shooter from Embark Studios suffered from network stability and server issues under the weight of an immense number of players, with a new all-time high player count being secured. In one moment, 354,836 concurrent players on Steam alone were enjoying the new extraction adventure from Embark, the creators of the finals. This puts the game's success, on Steam at least, on par with the likes of GTA 5, Starfield, Monster Hunter World, and Borderlands 4. Arc Raiders has taken the world by storm. As Arc Raiders hit new lofty heights on Sunday evening, the game started showing cracks that impacted users worldwide. Embark was forced to arrange a server queue system and seemed to switch off crossplay while recovery actions took place. For a while, players were forced to contend with those queues, party issues, network instability in-game, and even some crashes. It wasn't a long-lived issue, but it was indicative of the sheer success and scope of Arc Raiders. Widely considered one of the best extraction shooters around, and an immense contender to the monopoly held by the likes of Escape from Tarkov. Arc Raiders recently received a sizable roadmap detailing the next few months of content for the sensational game. That's in addition to Embark Studios' promise to support Arc Raiders for the next decade. Proving to be a hit with players, of course. On Steam, Arc Raiders has managed to secure more than 37,000 reviews, 90% of which are purely positive. It's a transformational extraction shooter that's seriously disrupting the genre right now. It's good to see new games and new IPs get success. What do you mean, victim of its own victory? It's so successful that the infrastructure supporting the game is struggling to keep up with the demand for the game, if that makes sense. The server capacity is being stretched to its limits because there are just so many people logging in to play the game. They had to turn on server queues so that people wouldn't overload, but just the sheer amount of people interested in playing is a lot. So I thought that was kind of cool. I like seeing success. It sucks that, they're having to see, server issues and impacting the player count, but it's all good. It's all good. Anywho, come back here. All right, sweet. Why did we go to the top? That was weird. But it's very cool. Very cool. I hope they work out the server issues. I imagine by now they have, or they have a plan coming. Like Silksong's Impact. Kinda, yeah. Alright, let's talk about Halo. Former Ensemble Studios dev blames Xbox head Don Matrick for killing Halo MMO. Once upon a time, Halo was set to secure an MMO dubbed Titan, pieced together by Ensemble Studios, a company shut down in January 2009. In a scalding post on social media, Sandy Peterson, who had been with Ensemble since the 1990s, revealed that Don Matrick, former overseer of the Xbox brand, killed the project to protect his corporate bonus. This pulling back of the curtain is a fiery look back at the scrapping of a game that on paper sounded very interesting. Titan was a prequel MMO in the Halo universe. Post on social media, Sandy Peterson, who was once a level designer working on Doom and Quake before joining Ensemble Studios, revealed why Halo's Titan MMO never saw the light of day. I actually don't know a lot about this whole project, so I'm enjoying reading this. In 2008, Ensemble Studios started planning a gigantic MMO set in the Halo universe. We codenamed it Titan. It was to take place tens of thousands of years ago, before the Halos were set off and destroyed all sentient life in the galaxy. It was all brought to naught when Don Matrick realized that his stock bonus was based on the income Microsoft had from games in 3 years. You see, we estimated 3.5 years to finish Titan if we did it right, and that's beyond Matrick's drop-dead date. So by firing all of Ensemble, he didn't have to pay for our expensive studio for 3 years, and he didn't care about Titan. Dang. Just shots fired, like, immediately. Rocket, thanks for the likes, man. Good to see you. Peterson revealed that the would-be Halo MMO would have featured an expansive universe that allowed players to assume control of Forerunners or Covenant characters. The Flood also had a starring spot in the game, but wouldn't have been playable, of course. The quest lines were mapped out, the home worlds were designed, and Microsoft estimated that the game would have made a whopping $1.1 billion. At that time, yes, that's very believable. Now, I don't think this idea would work. Maybe. There's a post on X about it. That's kind of cool. Peterson went on to further slam Matrick, settling on it being part of the executive's nature of the industry. All he lost was a game studio who never sold less than 3 million copies of everything we made. I don't believe he did justice to Microsoft stockholders, but hey, Don started as an EA hatchet man, so what do you expect? Yikes. Peterson and the wider Ensemble Studios team were tasked with bringing to life this ancient Halo setting, and the game was seemingly deep in development when the plug was pulled. That hand on the cable was Don Matrick's. It was once suggested that Titan would have taken unique concepts such as time travel and taken a deep dive into the lore of Halo. That would have been awesome. Don Matrick served as president of Microsoft's interactive entertainment arm, overseeing the strategy of Xbox until he departed the firm in 2013 to instead serve as the CEO of Zynga. Halo's Titan isn't to be confused with Blizzard's Titan MMO, another canceled game that came to a head after an $80 million investment. It's kind of a bummer to learn that just didn't happen, because I would have loved, at the time that was coming out, I was super into Halo lore and reading books and just reading like all the blog posts that devs would post on like Halo Waypoint and stuff. That was like a key time. That would have been a really good MMO. It would have been fun. As long as they could have nailed the gameplay. I wonder if it would have been a shooter. I don't know. But Don Matrick, famous for saying, if you don't have internet, you can just buy an Xbox 360 instead of an Xbox One. Famous face of why Xbox is in the state it's in right now. Not single-handedly, but definitely a major player in that arena. And hey, look, he made bad decisions all over. Anyway, all right, let's move on. While we're talking about Halo, I saw this over the weekend, and I don't know if this is true or not. It's a rumor, but Halo 2 and 3 campaign remakes are in development. It's claimed. It has been claimed by Halo Leaker that both Halo 2 and 3 are getting the remake treatment after Halo Campaign Evolve drops. In a post on social media, Leaks_Infinite claimed that a source informed them that both games are being remade and they will have Sprint. It was also noted that the next Halo game to feature multiplayer will be Halo 7, but nothing more was shared on that front aside from a note that the campaign and multiplayer will launch separately as they did in Halo Infinite. That's probably for the best. The fact that it's a rumor, though, this feels like lofty thinking, wishful thinking more than anything else. It doesn't feel like, it just doesn't feel real, because I'm getting them all mixed up. Metroid Prime Remastered dropped, and we were immediately like, oh yeah, Metroid Prime 2 and 3 Remastered are right behind it. That Nintendo's going to shadow drop those two, and here we are. Metroid Prime 4 comes out next month. Nothing on 2 and 3. It's very unlikely we see 2 and 3 surface. So I'm very curious, does Halo Studios, one, have the bandwidth to undertake this, and two, do they really want to remake these two games without any sort of multiplayer, when Halo 2 and 3 were more defined by their multiplayers than the campaigns themselves? It just seems odd. And that, like, Halo 7, whatever comes after Infinite, having a separate campaign and multiplayer makes total sense. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying waiting so long, or does Halo 2 and 3 campaign come out after Halo 7? It's such a weird timeline to try to picture, because if the remakes come out before, that means Halo 7 is years away. If it's after, who cares? I mean, it'll be great, but nobody's really going to play single player only games if we have the newest Halo multiplayer and the newest Halo multiplayer is good. I'm just saying, like, that's the likely scenario. Odd. Give me Echo's Nintendo. Yeah, dude, same. I want Echoes. I'd love them to tackle Metroid Prime Hunters so that they have context. They can give context on who Silex is in Metroid Prime 4. Like, nobody knows because nobody played Hunters. It was a fun DS game. A first-person shooter on the DS. It was very fun. All right. Well, let's talk about Call of Duty for a second, because of course they would think this. Call of Duty developers think the Game Pass price hike is a positive. Last month, Microsoft raised the prices of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate by a whopping 50% and overhauled the face of the subscription service. It was a drastic event that led to a rampant backlash hitting social media platforms worldwide, with many subscribers downgrading their tier or canceling their subscription altogether. Yep, I was in that camp. In a new post, it has been claimed that some, such as Call of Duty's developers, see the price hike as a positive for the studios making the games that are added to the Game Pass service when they launch. In a post on social media, Ghost of Hope, a Call of Duty leaker, revealed that they'd spoken to a string of Call of Duty developers who had nice things to say about Game Pass Ultimate price boost. He wrote, I spoke to several developers who say that the recent price increase for Game Pass from $19.99 to $29.99 is a positive for the Call of Duty studios. Financially, this will be a win for them as individuals because it will lead to more revenue, which means they're more in control of their future and what they can achieve. There's also a lot more financial upside with bonuses and such if they're successful now. The news of a price increase also means that they need to rely on making games that sell more units to achieve these bonuses. The vibe in Activision with regards to Black Ops 7 is pretty positive at the moment. A few months ago, the executive team was not happy, and now they are feeling better. In July, the founder of Arcane Studios went on the record labeling Game Pass unsustainable and damaging, and stressing that it doesn't coexist with other models. And then it was also revealed in recent Xbox news, Microsoft's console hardware sales dropped by 29% in Q1 fiscal year 26, putting further stock in the company, diving deeper into publishing, the cloud, and the flagship subscription service. I don't know. I feel like the Call of Duty devs would, of course, say the Game Pass price hike is a positive because Daddy Microsoft signing their checks. Of course they would agree with what corporate tells them to agree with. Maybe, if they're talking off the record, sure, it's not the best thing, but $30 a month was a lot. It's a big ask for gaming subscriptions. I just don't know. I don't know if I would feel the same way if I worked at Microsoft in any capacity. All right, well, let's shift gears. Let's talk about Fortnite. The Simpsons has now arrived in Fortnite with a month-long season and Springfield map. I have yet to update and play. I would like to check it out soon, though. A Springfield Battle Pass adds premium skins like Homer, Marge, and Flanders. After much speculation, The Simpsons has finally arrived in Fortnite today. Well, this was Saturday. It looks cool. I won't run the opening or the trailer because I'll definitely get flagged for that one. According to Epic Games, new content will be added each week, offering new Simpsons-themed gameplay, shop offerings, and more. To promote each week's gameplay narrative and map updates, 4 original Simpsons shorts co-produced by Grace Films and Epic Games will be published on Disney+, Fortnite social channels, and the Fortnite Quest tab on November 1st, 10th, 17th, and 24th. Players who link their Epic account and their Disney account before February 28th will also get Kang and Kodos' ship as a glider, which is kind of cool. The map looks great. It's all cel-shaded, Simpsons style. Reminds me of Simpsons Hit and Run, just modern, and then with the Fortnite like flair on it. It looks cool. I do need to dive in and check it out. I just think it's a cool collab. I'm not the biggest Simpsons fan, but I think it's neat to just see this kind of happen. And it works, I think it works. But anyway, that's kind of cool. Let's talk about Fortnite and another potential crossover for next year, Chapter 7. Harry Potter looks like it, according to leaks, Harry Potter's coming to Fortnite in some capacity. And I only brought this article up because I wanted to say giving Harry a muggle wand sounds intriguing. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Don't know what that collab looks like. I don't really care. We'll see it when it happens. If it's real, interesting. All right, let's talk about Half-Life 3. Because, it's not gaming news if we don't have a Half-Life 3 rumor, right? We got Silksong. We got Duke Nukem Forever years ago. What other game have we been waiting on endlessly? It's Half-Life 3. So a Half-Life 3 trailer rumored to be in production. A new rumor states that Valve may have begun work on a Half-Life 3 trailer. So not the game, just a trailer. Valve has been utterly silent about the next installment of the Half-Life series, with only rumors, data mines, and leaks being our only source of information. This sentence sucks. Half-Life series, with only rumors, data mines, and leaks being our only source of information. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm not an English teacher. Most recently, we heard that the upcoming title was being developed as the final chapter of the franchise. Now, a new rumor states that a trailer for HL3 is already in the works. Half-Life 3's announcement and launch will be very close to each other, it's claimed. It's going to be almost a shadow drop. I'm here for it. The latest update regarding Valve's work on Half-Life 3's trailer comes from Tyler McVicker's latest HLX Files episode on YouTube. McVicker says that the current rumor that's going on around is that work on the trailer is occurring. McVicker added that Valve's approach to trailers is very different from publicly owned AAA studios. The video also mentioned that the trailers and announcements typically arrive close to a year before launch. However, Valve is not doing that. Players are going to get Half-Life 3's announcement and launch very close together, similar to what they saw with Half-Life Alyx. McVicker explains that when trailers are created for games that are still far from launch, developers have to effectively fake what is being showcased, with very specific scripted content being pushed to the finish line earlier than the rest of the game's aspects. However, players should take this information with a grain of salt, as it was not obtained through a data leak or data mine, and Valve has not officially announced anything. If this is real, I will be happy to finally get closure on a series that influenced a lot of my gaming likes and dislikes and things that I do. Also, the reason we have Steam is thanks to Counter-Strike and Half-Life. So here we are. I would just love this series to be concluded. Half-Life 2 Episode 2 ended on such a cliffhanger. I would love any sort of conclusion. Even if it's bad. Like, that's where I'm at. Even if the game sucked, I would still buy it and enjoy it for what it is. And that's okay with me. All right, let's get an update on the Sony Tencent lawsuit. I don't know if we talked about this last week, but I definitely saw an article, and I think it's worth talking about here. Fame does not create a trademark. Sony Tencent's war of words over Horizon ripoff rage on. This is from Push Square. Very, very clever headline there. Well written. Tencent is not backing down in its fight against Sony over the alleged Horizon ripoff, Light of Motoram. The two organizations have gone back and forth in the courts a couple of times now, with PlayStation Maker originally describing the Chinese rival's efforts a slavish clone. It sought the complete elimination of the project, which it said could materially impact the future growth of the Horizon franchise due to its similarities. Tencent responded by filing a motion to dismiss, arguing Sony is seeking an impermissible monopoly on genre conventions. Pointing out PlayStation property also shares similarities with games like Legend of Zelda and Enslaved Odyssey to the West. PlayStation then rubbished the company's arguments as nonsense and accused it of trying to hide behind its many subsidiaries. Now Tencent has once again responded, asking courts to yet again dismiss the case, as reported by the Game Post. The firm pointed out that with Light of Motoram not scheduled to release till late 2027, the Japanese giant is complaining about future conduct regarding a project that's unreleased. It argued that the case is premature and doesn't warrant consideration at this stage. It reiterated Sony is suing the wrong entity as Tencent Holdings is not the developer or publisher of the game in question. It noted that Tencent Shanghai and Proximity Beta are the makers of the title, separate entities which are subsidiaries of Tencent. The firm also hit back at PlayStation's arguments regarding protagonist Aloy, claiming Fame does not make a trademark. It said Sony can't rely on the character's popularity or recognizability alone, and argued that the company has failed to identify Aloy's appearance as a trademark outside of the game. In the complaint, Sony says that the purported mark is characterized by its attire, accessories, and facial markings, but generalized descriptions are not enough to identify a trademark, it countered. Boy, this is heavy and a lot of words. Sony and Tencent have now both had an opportunity to make their arguments. Subsequently, the courts will decide whether this case goes further or is dismissed. PlayStation will be hoping to take things to the next stage, as it ultimately wants to pull the plug on this game. Meanwhile, once the whole case dismissed, the Chinese firm meanwhile wants the whole game dismissed. Assuming the courts rule in Sony's favor, there could be a long legal battle ahead, unless Tencent eventually decides to settle. Should get some kind of ruling on whether this case will continue in the not too distant future. I don't know. It's odd how similar things look, especially considering that Tencent approached Sony about some kind of Horizon spinoff. And that said, like, what's to say they didn't just reuse the assets they built for their pitch, right? And then build out a full game, knowing full well that Sony was likely going to turn them down. Or just, hey, just in case, we can build out our own thing. It'll just look similar. It's very odd. Anyway, that does it for the game news, and that's about all the time I've got anyway. So let's find somebody to raid on the old Twitch app there. See what we got. Who are we following? Some people aren't live yet, and that's okay. That's the hard part with ending early. My usual raids don't happen. Let's go to... Let's do Sword. He's probably wrapping up soon. But I'm going to raid him back. Because he's playing a fun game. Sword and Crossbow's a cool dude. You guys should check him out. And that does it. Alright guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you'll have a great day. And I'll be seeing you tonight. That's right, tonight we're playing Yooka-Replay, which is a remake / remaster of Yooka-Laylee, and I'm excited to play it. Anyway, love you guys. See you then. Tonight, 6 p.m.